5 small habits that will change your life forever. Ancient monk wisdom for modern chaos. When the world feels like a tornado. Picture this, it's Monday morning. You're in traffic. The coffee just spilled on your shirt. Your phone is buzzing with texts from your boss, your ex, and that dentist appointment you forgot, again. You glance at the dashboard clock and mutter under your breath, not again. Sound familiar? For many of us, modern life feels like trying to meditate on a roller coaster, loud, relentless, and impossible to slow down. Every notification, every deadline, every honking horn outside your apartment window is just another piece of the chaos. And amid this whirlwind, we begin to crave a quieter, clearer version of life. But how? Now, imagine someone else, someone who wakes up in a quiet temple at dawn. No emails, no traffic. Just the sound of birds and a soft ringing bell. He's not famous, he's not rich, and he's not superhuman. He's a monk. But more importantly, he's figured something out. Peace doesn't come from escaping life, it comes from transforming how you live it. That's what this article is about. What if 5 small shifts, yes, just 5, could not only reduce your stress but completely realign your life's direction? What if the answer isn't some dramatic career change or moving to a mountain in Nepal, but changing how you greet the day, how you eat, how you breathe, how you reflect, and how you plan? These aren't lofty rituals or elite routines. They are practical, powerful habits grounded in ancient Buddhist teachings, and they just might change your life. Let's start with the one that seems too simple to matter, and yet, it may be the most transformative. Habit 1, morning gratitude, finding gold in the grit. When was the last time you woke up and said thank you, before even checking your phone? Not to your boss, your partner, or even the universe, but a silent, sincere thank you for simply being here. Not because life is perfect, but because you're still in it. The monastic approach to gratitude. In a quiet corner of the world, a Buddhist monk wakes up at dawn. He sits on a simple mat, eyes closed. And before he thinks of food, work, or conversation, he runs through a mental list of gratitude. Not just for the sunshine or the birdsong, but for the people who bring food to the temple. For his teacher. For the tough lessons. Even for the noisy kid who banged a drum outside the temple yesterday. To him, gratitude isn't reserved for the good, it includes the difficult. As the Buddha once said, pain is certain, but suffering is optional. Gratitude is one way we make that choice. Why it works, science and spirit agree. You might be thinking, sure, gratitude is nice. But is it practical? Actually, yes. Studies show that people who practice daily gratitude have better sleep, less anxiety, and stronger immune systems. Why? Because gratitude shifts your brain's attention away from threat and lack toward presence and possibility. The monk's daily ritual isn't just about being polite to the universe, it's a way to rewire his perspective, so when chaos strikes, and it will, he's not a victim of it. He's prepared. A story from the city. I remember a woman named Elise I met in a mindfulness workshop in Chicago. A single mother, 2 jobs, barely time to breathe. I asked the group to start each day for a week by listing 3 things they were grateful for before looking at their phones. She sighed, I don't have time for that. But on day 3, she texted me. My daughter made me laugh so hard I spilled coffee on my pants. I almost cried, but then I remembered to say thank you. It changed everything. That's the power of habit. Gratitude didn't erase her stress, but it gave her the mental strength to hold her day with softness instead of breaking under it. How to start, no robes required. This isn't about sitting on a mountaintop or lighting incense. Here's what the monk recommends. 1. Before anything else, take 3 minutes each morning. 2. Think of one person you love, your best friend, your dog, your grandma. One person neutral, barista, mail carrier, coworker. One person who challenges you, your boss, ex, annoying neighbor. 3. Silently say, thank you for being here, for teaching me something, even if it's patience. That's it. The monk even thanks the kid who interrupted his meditation, because that kid reminded him of his own ability to stay calm anyway. Gratitude, in that moment, wasn't spiritual fluff, it was mental judo. What changes when you do this? This habit doesn't magically solve traffic jams or screaming toddlers. But it grounds you. Instead of walking into the world already clenched and reactive, you walk in centered. Gratitude is your emotional armor. It's your soft power. It gives you just enough distance from the chaos to remember, you are not the chaos. And once you start feeling that lightness, you're ready to build on it. Which leads us to the next habit, the one that tames the storm inside your mind. Habit 2, morning meditation, calm in the storm. Let's be honest, when most people hear the word meditation, they picture someone sitting cross-legged on a mountaintop, eyes closed, humming OM, and then they quickly dismiss it with a laugh. Yeah, that's not me. But here's the thing, meditation is not about becoming a monk. It's about becoming yourself. The puppy mind and the leash. There's a quote the monk lives by. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. The Buddha. He describes the mind as a puppy. A cute, energetic, undisciplined puppy. It jumps from thought to thought, yesterday's argument, tomorrow's meeting, what's for dinner, nonstop. Meditation isn't about stopping the thoughts. It's about holding the leash. You can't stop your mind from wandering. But you can learn to gently bring it back. And in a world where your attention is constantly being hijacked, this might be the most radical act of all. A moment of stillness in a world on fire. I once coached a CEO in New York who swore he couldn't sit still for 30 seconds. He called himself addicted to movement. But his blood pressure was high, his sleep a mess, and his employees were quitting because of his stress. I gave him a 5-minute challenge, just breathe. No phone. No fixing. No judging. 5 minutes. 2 weeks later, he said, I still don't like it. But I need it. It's like a reset button for my brain. That's exactly what meditation does. It doesn't fix your life. It prepares your mind to face it with clarity. How the monk does it. Each morning at 5 a.m., before the world stirs, the monk sits in silence. No fancy mantras. No mystical chants. Just the sound of his breath, rising and falling, like waves on the shore. Some mornings, his mind races. Some mornings, it settles quickly. But he never skips it. Because meditation is less about the perfect session and more about showing up. It's a ritual of reconnection, to breath, to self, to peace. Try it this way. You don't need a cushion, a candle, or a temple. Just try this. Sit somewhere quiet. Couch, chair, even your parked car. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Close your eyes, or leave them half open. Breathe slowly. In. Out. When your mind wanders, it will just return to the breath. No judgment. No pressure. Think of it like going to the gym for your awareness. At first, it's uncomfortable. Then it becomes essential. And that's when you're ready for the next step, not just being calm, but getting curious about yourself. Habit 3, journaling, your daily mirror. In a world where we're constantly reacting, emails, texts, alerts, how often do we stop to ask, how am I doing, really? This is where journaling comes in. Not the poetic kind. Not the kind locked in a pink diary. But a raw, honest check-in with yourself. The flashlight effect. The monk compares journaling to shining a flashlight into the corners of your mind. What am I carrying today? What did I learn? Where did I lose my patience? Where did I show up with love? The Buddha himself encouraged daily reflection. Not to self-punish, but to self-correct. In monastic life, the monk ends each day with a notebook, simple, worn, full of scribbled notes and quiet victories. Helped a visitor find their way. Lost my cool when the bell rang late. Felt grateful for the rice bowl. Nothing dramatic. Just real. Why it matters. In modern life, we're flying blind. We move so fast, we don't see our patterns, our triggers, our wins, our growth. Journaling slows the ride down just enough to say, hey, that moment mattered. I learned something. I remember a single dad named Jeremy from a mindfulness group. He was juggling 3 kids, 2 jobs, and crushing guilt. I asked him to jot down 3 lines every night. 1. One thing he did well. 2. One thing he was grateful for. 3. One thing he learned. At first, he resisted. I don't write. But after 2 weeks, he showed me a note he'd written. Didn't yell today. Not even once. That's a win. Grateful for pancakes and laughter. Learned I can breathe instead of snap. His face lit up with quiet pride. He was starting to see himself again. How to start? The monk suggests this ultra-simple approach. At night, before bed. 1. Grab your phone, notebook, or napkin. 2. Set a timer for 5 minutes. 3. Write down. One thing you did well today. One thing you're grateful for. One thing you learned. That's it. No filters. No grammar checks. The goal isn't perfection. It's honesty. And over time, these scribbles become a map of who you're becoming. Habit 4, mindful eating, living in every bite. We've all done it. Lunch at the desk, one hand on the mouse, the other holding a sandwich. You look down and the food's gone, but did you even taste it? In today's world, we eat while driving, scrolling, watching, working. We consume calories, but miss the meal. The monk calls this the great disconnection from what nourishes us, from what surrounds us, from the present moment. And he believes there's a simple antidote: eat like it matters. More than a meal. For the monk, food isn't just fuel. It's an offering. A connection. Every grain of rice carries the effort of farmers, the generosity of donors, and the interdependence of life itself. He sits in silence, holds his bowl, and thanks the rain, the sun, the earth, the cook. This isn't about romanticizing rice. It's about recognizing interbeing, as Thich Nhat Hanh called it, the truth that nothing exists independently. That's why he chews slowly. That's why he pauses before he eats. He's not worshiping the food. He's waking up to the moment. Why this matters in your life. In a noisy, fast-paced world, mindful eating becomes a pocket of peace, a moment where you stop reacting and start experiencing. It also improves digestion, lowers stress, and reduces overeating. But beyond health, it offers something rare, a break from rushing. I once worked with a burned-out software engineer named Ron. Always multitasking, always in a rush. He tried mindful eating reluctantly, just 1 meal a week. A month later, he said, "My dinner's still microwaved, but it doesn't feel empty anymore. It's mine. I slow down. I notice flavors. It's weirdly comforting." That's the shift. Try this today. Next time you eat, try this simple process. 1. Look at your food for 10 seconds. Notice the color, the texture, the shape. 2. Think about where it came from. Who touched it? Who prepared it? 3. Smell, then chew slowly. Count to 10 as you chew. 4. Avoid screens. Even for just a few minutes. 5. At the end, silently say, "Thank you." That's it. No kale required. It works with pizza. It works with toast. It works with life. Because when you learn to be present with your food, you begin to be present with yourself. And that opens the door to the final habit, shaping your time with intention. Habit 5, planning the day, steer, don't drift. Most of us wake up and dive into the day like someone tossed us into a river. We paddle hard, react to waves, hope we don't hit rocks. Then we crash into bed wondering, what just happened? The monk suggests something simple but radical: pause and point your boat. The power of a plan, even a small one. For the monk, planning doesn't mean micromanaging every minute. It means choosing direction. Each night, before bed, he writes a few lines. 5 a.m., meditate. 7 a.m., sweep courtyard. Noon, guide temple visitor. If the rain comes, he adjusts. If something urgent arises, he shifts. But he wakes with clarity. He says this is what the Buddha meant by right intention, living with purpose, not by accident. Why planning works? Studies in behavioral science confirm this. People who write down small, specific goals are far more likely to achieve them. Planning gives your mind a framework, so when life throws curveballs, and it will, you don't spin into chaos. You adapt. You respond. You remember what matters. I once knew a nurse named Rosa. 3 kids. Night shifts. Exhausted. She told me, planning feels pointless. Nothing ever goes as planned. I asked her to write down just 3 things before bed, small ones, like call my sister, drink water before coffee, take 5 deep breaths in the car. 2 weeks later, she said, it doesn't control my day, but it grounds me. Even when things go sideways, I have something to come back to. That's the win. Start simple tonight. Before you sleep, grab a pen or your notes app. Write down 1. 3 things you want to do tomorrow. 1 must do, the thing you're resisting. 1 well-being action, stretch, journal, walk. 1 connection, call, text, listen. 2. Look at it in the morning. That's it. Planning your day isn't about perfection. It's about direction. It's the difference between drifting and navigating. Conclusion, 5 small habits, 1 profound shift. So here we are. You followed the monk through 5 habits, not dramatic, not glamorous, but deeply powerful. Let's pause and rewind. 1. Gratitude, not for a perfect life, but for the imperfect life that's teaching you patience, strength, and resilience. 2. Meditation, not to escape your thoughts, but to witness them and slowly, gently lead them. 3. Journaling, a flashlight into the corners of your mind. A mirror for growth. 4. Mindful eating, to reconnect with the life behind every bite. To slow down and savor presence. 5. Daily planning, to shift from surviving your day to steering it. None of these require a monastery. None require you to change your name or wear robes. They require just one thing, a willingness to try. Small steps, big ripples. The Buddha once said, drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise person, gathering it little by little, fills themselves with good. These 5 habits are just drops. But when practiced daily, they create ripples, ripples that transform not just your mindset, but your entire experience of life. They're not magic. They won't erase bills, grief, heartbreak, or deadlines. But they will give you the clarity to face those things differently. You'll go from reacting to responding. From overwhelmed to anchored. From rushed to aware. A final story, the monk and the mango. Before we close, let me share one last story the monk tells often. One afternoon, after a long morning of temple duties, he found a ripe mango, rare, sweet, golden. He was tired, distracted, and ate it in 3 quick bites. No gratitude, no awareness. Just hunger and haste. Afterward, he felt empty. The next day, he found another mango. This time, he paused. He noticed the color, the weight in his hand. He thought about the tree, the rain, the hands that brought it. He took slow bites, tasted the sweetness, gave thanks. Same mango. Different experience. One filled his stomach. The other filled his spirit. That's the invitation of this practice, live like the second mango. Not just in food, but in relationships, breath, thoughts, time. Be where you are. Taste it. Name it. Savor it. Where to begin? The monk would say, don't try to do all 5 habits tomorrow. That's a trap of the ego, perfectionism disguised as ambition. Instead, just pick one. Feel scattered? Try meditation. Feel numb? Try journaling. Feel overwhelmed? Start with planning. Feel disconnected? Eat mindfully. Feel cynical? Try gratitude. Let that one habit plant its roots. Let it grow. Then build from there, drop by drop. The hidden truth. You don't need to be saved. You're not broken. You're just distracted from your own inner power. What the monk reminds us, and what Buddhism has whispered for thousands of years, is this. Peace isn't found at the end of the road. It's found in the step you're taking right now. So take that step. Start your journey. Not toward perfection, but toward presence. Not to become someone else, but to return to who you already are, clear, grounded, awake. You've got this. Not because life will suddenly be easy, but because you're finally walking it on purpose. May you find a pocket of peace between the traffic jams and the to-do lists. May you taste the sweetness in a mango or a Monday. May you remember, the small things are the big things. Thank you for reading.